Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 teams for the Master League from PvPoke. As I don't really play Master League that often, which will change this week, I will do a lot of Master League content because the EOIC Cup isn't really the greatest. Basically, we're going to have here the top teams from PvPoke, who recently changed their top teams again and kind of updated them. So today we have very much new and updated versions of the top teams. Those are based on statistics and on like how people are played with those teams on PvPoke. I think on like the training series set that you can do there. So today we're going to have those. I put them all together. They're usually I think around like 20 or whatever on PvPoke. We have the top 10 here. They're all kind of put together with different save options and closer options and lead options if you want to. So if you enjoy this content, if you appreciate my work, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. But let's start off with the meta for the Master League real quick, because I feel like it's kind of important to take a look at the meta before a league starts again as well and see what's kind of common. What we see here is a Zacian, which is just dominating the meta. And I'm curious if the next season is going to change something between the Palkia and the Zacian, because that is kind of the best core. That's the core to break. Those are the two best Pokemon. But actually, funnily enough, at number 3 spot, we will find a Pokemon that is not even a legendary Pokemon in Metagross, which recently got buffed with Media Mesh this season, which makes it quite a bit stronger. Otherwise, we're going to have like the old school Pokemon. I feel like some of the Pokemon are not really that viable though. I feel like Lugia is quite tough to play right now. Eternatus is actually really much tough to play. It has great stats, but you really need to have it fully maxed out, and then it's still kind of difficult sometimes to play this Pokemon. Yveltal can be a bit tricky if Zacian is a top meta Pokemon there. On this list, Drowner I feel like is quite difficult to play as well. But again, we're going to very late take a look at a lot of them on this channel throughout the week, so definitely stay tuned for this. As we can start off with our team at number 1. And we're going to have an interesting ABA style lineup here. We're going to have the Palkia, the Metagross, as well as the Primarina. The main idea is here to utilize the Palkia's very overpowered 2-shield scenario in terms of the matchups that you have. You win against nearly everything, and then you can align yourself. A Metagross against the Pokemon that are just generally like a fairy type Pokemon, for example, if you need to swap out. If you need to swap out, by the way, and face a fairy type Pokemon elite, swap out Primarina as your save swap. I think Primarina is supposed to be more the save swap of this team. It's a bit unclear on PvPoke's top team list a lot of times on what is the save swap and whatnot. I would personally go actually nearly all the time for Primarina save swap if you have such a bad lead for your Palkia that you have to swap out. And just generally speaking though, this team doesn't really have a big answer. Like Groudon isn't an answer for this team. We have 2 water type Pokemon here. Like it doesn't make any sense at all to have Groudon as an answer. And so, yeah, I do think it's a very solid team. This is the number 1 team actually on PvPoke, which is funny to see 2 non-legendary Pokemon on there. Like, that seems to be a bit wild to me. Number 2 spot, we're going to see actually quite some interesting Pokemon. Funnily enough, team number 2, 3, and 4 are kind of here all together because they were all having Zamazenta as their closer. I'm facing all of them are in this one. And we're going to have here different leads of the Zekrom or the Reshiram. They both got updated quite significantly this season to make them actually very, very solid again. I kind of definitely want to take a look at those 2 as well. But otherwise, we have Lunala, like the Palkia as a save-up. Lunala is a very good save-up in this current meta. In my opinion, the best save-up in this meta. There's only Dark-type Pokemon that are tricky. We only have Yveltal as well as the odd Tyranta for that. And otherwise, we have a very, very safe Pokemon to run. If you have Lunala, definitely build it. It's absolutely worth it. And only in a few days, I think we're going to have like Solgaleo back in again. They have the same, like as a raid boss, they have the same candies to use. And Lunala got buffed as well this season with Shadow Ball. Again, this Pokemon is absolutely fantastic. But what we have in the back is going to be here Zamazenta Crown form, which is kind of underrated. I feel like a lot of people kind of don't use this Pokemon. I will definitely give this Pokemon a try as well. Next up is going to be here the Xerneas lead, the save-up of, again, Lunala or Palkia. And in the back, we're going to have the Tyranitar. Tyranitar is actually very solid in this meta. Having Dragon Breath now and having Brutal Swing is a very nice and very strong combination. You're going to be able to beat all of those Lunala save-ups with this Pokemon, which is fantastic. You have to be very aware, though, of the Zacian. Zacian is actually one of the worst Pokemon to counter for this team. That's why I think actually Lunala might be better as a save-up. But again, those are the teams on PvPoke. What this team is designed to counter, though, is Ho-Oh teams. Because your lead is going to be weak against Ho-Oh, but your backline is going to be very solid against Ho-Oh. Tyranta is the Pokemon close to them, and Palkia is the Pokemon to, be the save but still punish them. So, it's an interesting team. It's going to be team number 3. Team number 4 is going to be, a very much an ABC style line. I don't actually know. I don't think there is like a clear say-sub on this team, and I think that's kind of how it's designed to be, because we have Reshiram. It's not Reshiram here. It's supposed to be Kyurem White. Let me fix that real quick. And that looks now quite a bit better here, because actually the Kyurem White has very solid, just general matchups right now. Kyurem White is very nice neutrally. Like, the only Pokemon that they're really difficult for you to deal with is like pure fairy type like Xerneas. That's like the only Pokemon where it's a bit more tougher for yourself. But otherwise, you're going to have here then a very nice core in the back. So Kyurem White, you kind of want to use the shields. Ideally, you can align yourself and then kind of counter the opponent's Pokemon with the backline that you have. And otherwise you're going to have here then the core in the back of the Xerneas together with the Kyogre. And Xerneas and Kyogre are basically perfect together. Kyogre is going to be able to beat Pokemon like those steel types, which you also have close combat still on your Xerneas. But you're going to be able to beat Pokemon like that Ho-Oh, which is going to be important. While Xerneas is going to be able to beat Pokemon like that Palkia, which Kyogre really doesn't want to face. So I feel like that's going to be a fun team, and I think it's a solid team to run for the Master League as well. Next up is going to be a team that is designed as well here to counter especially the Pokemon Ho-Oh with the backline. We're going to have the Zacian, Palkia, and Zekrom team. Zekrom is a closer for this core, makes a lot of sense. Zekrom, by the way, you have the option to go for different kind of movesets. I've seen people run Crunch over Outrage. Outrage seems to be here the recommended moveset on PvPoke. But generally speaking, I do think that this team is actually really cool because it's more of an ABB style line, which a lot of times I at least prefer. But you're going to have two very good answers to Ho-Oh in the back, which is very important because it's the main answer to your lead here, and that is kind of cool. You can also use, I feel like, in my opinion, the Reshiram and the backend style of the Zekrom. That makes a lot of sense as well, as you're going to have access to Stone Edge on this Pokemon as well, which is going to allow you to hit Ho-Oh for double super effective damage and one-shot it in one hit. Okay, I'm a bit confused, but we can talk about it. Why are we going to have here the Giratina Origin? I do feel like this is the wrong moveset for Giratina Origin. I do think that the best moveset is Shadow Claw on this Pokemon still. I would not recommend you to go for Dragon Tail. I feel like Dragon Tail doesn't allow you to do anything special with this Pokemon. While the Shadow Claw is going to allow you to hit Pokemon like Zamazenta and Zacian, at least for neutral damage, and allows you to be a way better closer. It's very much similar towards what we see already with Lunala, that we have Pokemon that, basically use access to, like, especially Ghost type moves currently being a very good, just general say-sub even. And this is the thing as well, I would actually maybe recommend you to go for Shadow Claw Giratina and use it as a say-sub for your team, because then you're still going to have the Palkia in the back to close out battles, but also you're going to have with the Palkia in the back a Pokemon that's going to be better against the weaknesses of your lead of Xerneas, which are mainly something like a Ho-Oh. And so I feel like this would be kind of a better idea here for this team. It's again from PvPoke, just copy them directly. But I feel like Giratina should have Shadow Claw and should be a say-sub for the team. But then I do think it's actually a fantastic team to run. So let's take a look at team number 7, where we will going to take a look at another interesting team here. We have Kyurem White, we have the Ho-Oh, and we have the Xerneas. Again, we have actually here an interesting core. The Xerneas together with Ho-Oh function quite well, because Ho-Oh actually doesn't really want to go up against the Strength type Pokemon, which Xerneas can beat, and Xerneas doesn't really want to go up against the Steel type Pokemon that Ho-Oh can beat. And so, like, those are a perfect core together again, and it's very similar to, I guess, what you've seen already earlier with the Kyogre team, that you use your Kyurem White in order to, use your shields, use that to align yourself, hopefully going to be able to do that with this Pokemon, and then you use your Ho-Oh and your Xerneas to counter the backline of the opponent. And I feel like it's a cool strategy. It's honestly a cool strategy, and I kind of want to try it out, so stay tuned for the videos. Again, I have actually a lot of different kind of Master League teams I want to try, so there's going to be a lot of content coming towards the Master League on this channel for the upcoming week. But also there's going to be a lot more guides coming up as well. If you haven't seen it, I did put out 2 guides on my channel for the last 2 videos. One for the best IVs that you kind of want to get for Pokemon, like PvP IVs generally explained and how important they are, as well as one now for the best buddies, which are very important for the Master League. So definitely give it a try and check it out. Going to be linked in the end card, both of them. But let's take a look here now at the next team here. We're going to have the Zacian lead, the say-sub of the Palkia or the Kyurem Black. Kyurem Black. I am not the biggest fan of Dragon Tail Kyurem Black. I would actually recommend you to go for Shadow Claw Kyurem Black, but that is my own personal opinion. In this case, Dragon Tail can be kind of cool in order to hit Pokemon that are part of Dragon type for super effective damage as well, if they want to avoid the Zacian in the lead. But I personally just like Shadow Claw more. But Dragon Tail is perfectly fine as well. It's literally just preference. And then we have in the back here 2 different non-legendary Pokemon, like the Tyranitar or the Metagross. Both of them make a lot of sense, but both of them going to be weak to ground, which If you use the Kyurem Black there as well, it's going to be more difficult than if you would use the Palkia. Team number 9 is going to be interesting. Team number 9 is going to be, again, very similar to what we have before. Apparently, the meta right now is to have Kyurem right in the lead, try to align yourself, and then have 2 good Pokemon in the back. But in this case, it's actually not the same way as before. This is more balanced. This is more trying to utilize the Kyurem White Zacian core and have the Necrozma Wings as their Lunala replacement. Lunala is better in my opinion than Necrozma Wings. Lunala is just better in terms of the pacing that you have with it and the coverage that you have. But Necrozma Wings is the best next face-up for this current meta, which is kind of funny because you need a Lunala for this Pokemon as well, but like you kind of have to use it completely differently. So in this case, I do think that this is going to be a very interesting balanced team. It's an approach that's more like, okay, you have clear Zacian, which is going to be a Necrozma, you have your Kyurem White, it's going to be just nice neutral, and then you have your Zacian in the back. It's just kind of trying to use 3 very strong Pokemon together and see and hope for the best. Okay, team number 10 is going to be the final team for today, which is going to be the Palkia, the Zacian, which is again, it's like the main core, and the Ho-Oh. I feel like, again, it's more trying to design to try to win the lead matchup with your Palkia, then have the Ho-Oh in the back, and together with the Zacian as a core, kinda. As the Zacian is going to be, again, able to beat those Dragon-type Pokemon, as well as Fairy-type Pokemon as well, which you don't really need. And Ho-Oh is going to be able to beat those Steel-type Pokemon, which actually Zacian is okay against as well. So, generally speaking, I do think that this is going to be, though, a very nice team to run as well. And those are the top 10 teams from PvPoke. And I do feel like they're good. I do think there's not a single team here today that I would say, okay, I wouldn't recommend you to run it. I think they're all very, very cool. And trust me, I will try a lot of them out on this channel. So if you want to see those games in as well, then feel free to follow this channel, leave a like, and check out my 2 guides that you see on the screen right now. And I will see you then. Bye-bye.